We had to go through 100 floors to get here, but I didn't expect it to be this easy, said the girl with red hair. That's because my magical support was superb, another girl with purple hair replied with a giggle. Nope, all thanks to my innate marksmanship, said the elf girl suddenly appearing and scaring the lilac-haired girl, causing her to ask her not to appear so suddenly anymore. Dorothy, you scare every Russell as it is, the elf said dismissively, to which the girl asked Riley what her stupid outfit was. It's the latest fashion in my homeland, but you don't know anyway, said the pixie as she continued to hang upside down holding onto the web Peter Parker had given her. But their argument was interrupted by a girl with pink hair, who smiled and told them not to argue, but to tell them what the girls were going to do when it was over. I want to make Dong Ha into an idol. Not getting the joke, the other girls looked at that one disdainfully. No, no, no. He's my puppy. If you want to do anything with him you have to ask my permission. One of the girls said irritably. What are you talking about? Donga is going to be my personal butler, loudly declared the other one. At the same time, Donka standing nearby and holding a large hiking backpack on his back was watching the situation with a stone face. Alright, that's enough. I've decided, Donga will be my personal hairdresser. One of the girls stated again. What a mess. Why are these crazy people deciding my fate? Well, I can't complain, it's not the first time this has happened. It's like it's the end anyway, time's gone by so fast. If you think about it that way, I've been through a lot with them. Really through a lot. Difficulties. Adversity. Bastards. Why did I have to put up with all this? Donga. Called out one of the girls. What is it again? Thought to himself the guy who had girls at his throat. What are you standing there for? Stop sulking and come here quick. I'll give you a treat later. With a bright smile on her face, the red-haired girl said. If you don't obey, you know what will happen, right? Yes. Asked the girl taking out her belt and looking at the guy with a sly smile. Sorry. I'll be right there, I'm so sick of this thing. How long can you keep pestering me? Giggled Donga nervously. Gathering all together, the girls were ready to embark on the main task of their mission, namely to defeat the Demon Lord. Woof. With a collar on his back and a leash on, Donka barked. Countless trials and tribulations were behind them. But the final stage for the hero team is about to begin. The 100th floor of a magical tower. Illuminated by pink lightning, it terrified all adventurers who wished to conquer it. In the room of the Demon Lord that the group of heroes came for, the sound of slapping could be heard at the moment. As it turned out, the culprit of this noise was the Demon Lord, who simply slapped the heroes. After one such slap, there was a notification that Rebecca had lost a tooth. After that she floated in the air for a while, flying past poor Donga who was trying to figure out what was going on. After which she created a smoke screen. Wow, looks like Rebecca lost a tooth, said Donga looking at the crash site. Then she slammed into the wall and passed out. Well, that was expected from the world's strongest warrior who didn't need heavy armor because he was clearly stronger than them. But as it turned out, she wasn't the only one to suffer such a fate. The strongest sword of the Empire, Nain, who with an innocent smile called him a puppy and offered to take a walk with her mother, now lay on the ground doing stretches. And Dorothy, who was the archmage of the Empire, and who made him do her laundry, also being pressed into the wall, was lying on the floor in a rather interesting yoga-like position, lamenting the fact that she never got her laundry. Next was the elf archer Julia, who was always picking on his clothes, and who now had her head stuck in the ceiling and was hanging in the air, having never become Spider-Man. And all of this was the result of all but one slap from the Demon King. Well, to tell you the truth, I had nothing to say to them. Thinking about the situation, Donga said to himself. The appearance of the Demon Lord, who turned out to be a girl, indicated that she would attack first. Suddenly, the guy heard a pitiful voice calling him. Turning around he saw Nain leaning on her sword and biting her lip, looking at him. But suddenly her facial expression changed to a smile. Why is she smiling? Wondered Donga. Is she trying to tell me to run away? This was often shown in movies when a wounded hero asks his comrade to run away. Has she been pretending all this time when she was actually protecting me? If you run away, you'll die. With an innocent smile, the girl said. Okay, that was obvious, of course it can't be, and how did I not realize it right away? The girl then turned to the guy again and said that the demon lord had gone into motion again, adding that it was now his turn. You better get ready so that you don't get caught in the middle of it. Why the hell did she come to me again? Puzzled and frightened, Nain wondered as she saw the demon queen reappear beside her, looking at her with a not entirely reassuring gaze. The demon queen held out her hand, folding her fingers as if preparing to slap her. Nain, however, looked panicked at the strongest weapon she'd ever encountered before and mumbled pitifully, "Wait a minute." However, fate does not like such bitchy characters. And the next moment she received a flick, the force of which made everything glow brightly. Was it definitely a flick? No, it was definitely a flick. Why do I get the feeling that something exploded? And how could it be possible to do that much damage with a normal flick? Is she a reborn Saitama? Earlier in the army at the firing range, I heard a similar sound before. Though back then, the crackling wasn't as strong as it is now. Well, I don't think she'll be okay after that. Goodbye Nain, you can be proud of yourself now. The kingdom won't forget you. The demon queen standing beside Nain's immobilized body, who was most likely already watching all of this from the other side of the world, suddenly turned around and looked at Donga. Are you the only one left? With a smile on her face, the demon queen asked. I'm finished, now the snap monster will come for my soul. I need to try to calm down, though what's the point, surely just one of her snaps will blow my head off. There's no way out, we should try to negotiate. Not wanting to die so early, Donga decided to make one last attempt. Stop. Not so fast. Negotiate. Let's talk first. Waving his hands in panic said Donga. Damn. Did I run into a wall at this moment? What an ironic cliché. Leaning against the wall and unable to escape anywhere, Donga said to himself. Suddenly, someone's underwear flew into his face. However, he didn't pay attention to it. That's a shame. I'm somehow starting to regret acting like a backstreet dog all this time. Damn. I'm no different from those idiots. I can't believe this is how I'm going to end up. Grabbing the underwear that fell on his face, Donga wiped the tears running down his face with it. I'll do anything you want, just don't kill me. Please. Give me a chance. To die with this low-grade crew, or to make a move and stay in agony, that is the question. So this is what it feels like for a Murim hero to have his arm cut off. It's not a good feeling. The guy's discarded underwear fell dramatically to the floor. Really? Already covering his arms in anticipation of the blow, Donga cautiously peeked out, not realizing what was going on. Staring at the deadly weapon in the form of a flick aimed at him and which froze in place without ever carrying out its sentence, the guy couldn't believe he was still alive. I don't know what's going on, but this is my chance. Why yes. I'm really willing to do anything. Making a confident face, the protagonist said, thinking to himself that he should just try to survive first. Deal? He asked the demon queen, at the same time thinking about running away at the first chance he got. Then don't go, stay with me. If you run away, you'll die. With an innocent smile, the demon queen replied. What, did I misunderstand something? Not understanding what was going on and how this could even happen, wondered Donga. Where did she go? Sitting at the table and propping his head up with his hands, Donga pondered. I've been waiting for so long and she's still not here. Sitting at the table with only 2 chairs, Donga felt somehow uncomfortable. After remembering the words of the demon queen who told him to sit and wait for her here, adding that she would bring something. What could she bring, and wouldn't it be potentially life-threatening? Though it doesn't matter, I could still die at any moment. But what's taking her so long? Whoa though. Just dying is one thing, but what if she went to get torture implements or something? Or is she even going to sacrifice me? Who cares, my life is still at stake. We need to come up with some sort of plan just in case. Putting his hands together, the guy said to himself. But coming up with a plan was not destined by fate itself, for the next moment the door was ajar. She's here, this is my end. Father, mother, I'm sorry for everything. It looks like your ungrateful child's life is about to be cut short. However, Donga's parting thoughts were interrupted by the voice of the demon queen, who held out something to him and asked, "Do you know what this is?" "Huh?" This, not realizing what was going on, muttered the confused Donga. "Chess." Unsurely, he answered, looking at the demon queen, to which the latter replied that he had answered correctly. "Where are the instruments of torture?" Still not believing what was happening, asked in a surprised voice, Donga asked. "What are you talking about?" the demon queen asked, perplexed. "Well, there's sacrifices to evil gods and other similar things. What do you take me for?" Whereupon, pushing back her chair, she asked, "You know how to play, don't you?" "What's going on?" "She wants to play chess." "She might say I don't know how to play chess. But if I say that, I'll definitely die. In that case, I'll say I can." "Wait, but if I lose, I'll die too." "Damn, what should I do?" "Okay, I have to win no matter what it costs me." "Yeah, I know," replied Donga, thinking to himself that he had to give it his all. "I'm putting my pride as the strongest SSS-ranked chess player in the kingdom on the line." The girl's eyes shone with happiness. "Ooh. Then teach me." Phew, it passed this time. It's a good thing she just wants to learn how to play chess. "Okay, then let's begin. This is how castling is done. And this piece is the king." "Aha. So to castling you have to do this." After a while, sitting in front of the chessboard with all the pieces on it, the demon queen said with a satisfied smile on her face, "Now I know how to play. Let's start the real game." "I knew this would happen, but did I have a choice?" Donga said annoyedly to himself. "By the way," said the demon queen. "So what again?" thought the boy to himself. "I'm warning you. Whoa, don't be so harsh. What does she want? Surely my death. I'm not going to die, am I? Don't you dare give in, got it?" Exuding a murderous aura and with burning red eyes, asked the demon queen. "Huh? Yes, of course." A short while later. The score was 1 o'clock in favor of Donga. "What the hell? Let's play again." 10 minutes later. Park Dong-ha 2 wins Lord 0. "Damn. I lost again. One more time. Ah. Why is it like this?" Having lost once again, the demon queen was boiling with anger with a fearful expression on her face as she looked at Donga. "Damn, I've screwed up. If I keep winning like this, her patience will break and I'll be finished. I have no choice but to give in." However, unfortunately for Donga, that didn't work, for the Lord immediately noticed something amiss. "Hey! Why didn't you beat the elephant? Are you really giving in?" Standing up from her chair, she asked indignantly, pointing her finger at Donga. "What's wrong with you? Because you don't play well I decided to give in to you and now you resent me? So why is it so hard?" Silently pondered to himself the boy. Hearing no answer, the demon queen continued to ask the guy why he was silent. Donga, on the other hand, sat silently exuding a frown. "Getting angry when I win, and then getting angry when she wins. What the hell do I have to do to survive? Say something already." With a disgruntled face, the demon queen said, turning to Donga, who was not paying attention to her, trying to figure out what was wrong with him. "I'm just a human after all. But I can't take it anymore. Just tell me what I need to do already." Standing up from his chair angrily shouted Donga, angrily overturning the board, causing the pieces to fly apart. However, this performance didn't elicit any reaction from the demon queen, who stared blankly at his antics. But that didn't last long, as the next moment, she smiled. "Well, I didn't think you would turn out to be so brainless." The demon queen stood up from her chair and looked at the boy with her murderous gaze. Looks like you're useless to me. Goodbye. No way. Breathing heavily, Dongha said to himself as he imagined the outcome of such actions on his part. Stop playing is definitely not my option, these I will surely sign my death warrant. The demon queen at the same time looked at him with incomprehension and surprise, asking what he was doing. I can easily win, but what's the point if I die afterward, think Park Dongha. You have to find an outcome where you stay alive. As he started brainstorming to himself, the guy whose life was hanging by a thread and depended only on his choices. Suddenly he had an epiphany. This is it. This has to work. It may seem strange to her, but I have to take the risk, said Dongha to himself, then taking the king figure in his hand. What? I told you not to give in, resentfully said the demon queen in an angry voice. However, how could I have made such a mistake? God, why are you so cruel to me? Crushedly shouted Dongha, desperately glowered behind his head and looked up. The demon queen stared at the guy with incomprehension and surprise, not realizing what was going on. I practically won, didn't I? Dongha said frustratedly. Will you let me change my move? What? But even though you're asking, you have to stick to the rules. Dongha was sure that since the girl liked the competition so much, she would definitely make concessions. Please, just one move. Okay, but just one move. Shining with happiness, the girl enthusiastically replied, feeling her superiority. To which the lad replied with sincere gratitude. Well, then, as I was going to do, we need to checkmate this confrontation. With a sly face, Dongha said as if he was very excited about this chance. Yay, I won! Joyfully shouted the guy, imitating sincere joy. Although it wasn't completely insincere, as he was indeed very happy that he was able to survive. What do you think of this match that touches to the core, huh? From the look on her face, she's more satisfied than ever. The guy concluded after looking at the demon queen, who even though she lost, she was glowing with happiness since Dongha could only win because she allowed him to change his move. My plan worked. Now I can go home with peace of mind. Dongha thought happily, anticipating the smell of freedom. But unfortunately for the poor guy, the scriptwriters didn't see it that way. You and I are so much alike. This makes me like you more and more. Let's keep having fun like this, okay? Shining with happiness, said the demon queen, looking at Dongha with hope in her eyes. He couldn't refuse the request of this beautiful and innocent lady who in no way took advantage of her position and left the choice entirely up to him. What should I play next? Self-portrait of Pan Dongha, 20XX. What have I done? Well, let's start the real game. Sitting in front of the chessboard, said the confident demon queen. With those words, the war between the northern and southern states began. Oh wait, with those words, the game of chess with the demon lord began, and it lasted for about 2 days. Check, castling, gambit. Those words never ceased to resound throughout this time. In addition, from time to time, the demon queen released a lightning bolt, which removed sleep like a hand. I recommend it to everyone if you do not want to get up in the morning. And yes, as you realized all this time, I was not allowed to sleep. The duel ended only after the demon lord, though with great difficulty, but managed to capture my queen, which began the end. It was only then that I was finally able to get a proper rest. No matter what anyone says, but it was a really hard ordeal that I probably won't soon forget. After a while, sitting on the bed in a small room with nothing else but a stool, a bed, and a small window through which the sunlight was barely breaking through, Dongha thought about what he should do next. I need to find a way to let them know that I'm trapped here, since other high-level raiding parties will be coming here soon. No, I need to ask the members of my group that she took away first. Looks like there's no other way out, I have to ask directly. Come to think of it, what was she doing while I was sleeping? Opening the door to the corridor, Dongha wondered. Walking down the long, dark and not at all cozy corridor, he noted that living alone in such a place must have been boring. Stop, I'm thinking about the wrong thing, you've got something to worry about. Like I said, but, This is the only place I know. Should I start looking from here? And is it possible that she's still there? Pondered Donga, standing at the door that looked like the boss room from the games. The door creaked softly. The demon queen, with eyes shining with excitement, was caught off guard. Opening the door wide and peeking inside, Donga wondered where the demon queen could be. However, a rather unexpected and unusual surprise awaited him there. "You're awake. Come in quickly. How did you sleep?" With a radiant smile on her face, the demon queen innocently asked, turning to the boy. The same froze in place, unable to move from the shock he experienced. I slept well, but... Have you been sitting here alone playing chess all this time?" asked Donga after seeing the board on the table where the pieces were arranged. To which the girl replied that she was. Then with a happy smile she ordered, or excuse me, asked him to sit down and play the next game with her. Didn't she get bored? Wondered Donga. However, after looking at the girl, who was looking at him with the most joyful face he had ever seen, he came to the conclusion that it didn't look like she was, though how could he get bored of playing with a living person after a long time alone? Sitting down at the board, he decided to question everything during the game. I wanted to ask something, Donga asked after making another move and looking at the demon queen, who immediately asked what exactly he wanted to ask. "Where are my group members?" "Oh, them. I sent them home." Without taking her focused gaze off the blackboard, nonchalantly replied the girl. "What? Really?" Unable to believe what he was hearing, Donga interjected. "Yes. I'm not lying," replied the queen. That's just beautiful. And I thought she was quite clever, but it seems that I was wrong." Dong-ha looked at the girl, who looked more like a child than a strong and wise demon lord. "Although the members of my group have terrible temperaments, but they are very stubborn. I'm sure once they return to the kingdom, they will tell everyone about the demon lord's power. And once the rumors reach the strongest warriors, then they will join forces with my group. And then they'll blow the place apart for sure." However, Donga's dreams were interrupted by the voice of the demon queen, who noticed the obvious joy on his face. "Don't be so happy. I've erased all their memories of this place." "What do you mean erased?" Perplexed, Donga wondered, since memories could only be manipulated by Akasha lords. "I heard that there could only be 3 of them." The guy's shock and surprise was hard to describe in words. "And 2 of them were in another part of the continent. So she was the 3rd. I would never have thought of that, she was already too different from my idea of an Akashi lord. But come on, what's more important? So those fools lost their memories." Seeing the not particularly happy expression on the guy's face, the queen demonically asked why he was sighing. "Isn't this fun?" Entering real and intimidating demon king mode again, the girl asked, emitting murderous intent and looking at the guy with eyes that seemed like they could sizzle. No, come on. This is so much fun. Honestly, I swear on my name as the strongest porter in the kingdom." Managing to react in time, Donga replied. "Can't you see how enthusiastic I am?" he asked, pointing a finger at himself. "Really?" the queen asked, looking at the guy incredulously. "I get it," the girl stood up and taking the chessboard with her said, looking at Donga with a disdainful and hurt face. "I don't think you do," said he, trying to remedy the situation. "Wait!" he shouted, but unfortunately his words failed to change anything as the door slammed right in his face. She was gone. "Looks like I'm really screwed this time." Bleeding with sweat, Donga wondered if he should have prayed before he died. Sitting down at the table and putting his hands together, he began his prayer. "O merciful one, please let me go to your abode without pain, and may..." Pausing briefly he added, "Nain, Rebecca, Julia and Dorothy, taste the fires of hell." The belief that the prayer would be answered was very clearly reflected on the boy's face. After a while, there was an awkward pause between the demon queen and Donga looking at each other. The girl looked at the guy without obvious emotion, while the guy didn't know what to prepare for. The demon lord had finally returned, and she had also brought a wooden chest with her. I don't know why, but I feel like it's no good. Although, Donka thought. Maybe it's a different game. Looking at the chest, hopefully, Donka thought, even though the game wasn't a desirable activity, it was still better than death. Drum roll, the chest was opened. Swords. Looking at the contents of the chest, said Donka. Aha, the girl confirmed. Once again, an awkward pause hung. Let's just dispense with a simple slap. Okay. Bleeding sweat and not daring to look the demon queen in the eyes, asked Donga. To which the latter asked with surprise and incomprehension. Do you want to be spanked? Or do you like being spanked? Yes. I just love it. I live for it. Staring blankly at the chest of swords, the boy replied, musing to himself that it was better than being stabbed. Still not realizing Donga's sarcasm, and taking everything at face value, the demon queen replied, well. Okay. I should have mentioned it earlier. Now I'll get some more stuff and spank you if you want it so badly. Something. Puzzled, Donka muttered. But what he saw in the next moment shocked him. It can't be like that. In front of him was the demon queen, from somewhere bringing out a huge barrel in which sat a blonde-haired pirate who also seemed to have been left with no choice. It's Roulette Oak Pirate. Recognizing the game, exclaimed Donka to himself. Breathing on his index finger for some reason. Then folding it into the shape of a flick and sticking it forward, the demon queen declared that she was ready. No need, it's fine. I appreciate your concern, but let's do it some other time, said Donga, waving his hands. The demon queen, on the other hand, was surprised by such a sudden refusal. Then she asked him in surprise if he knew how to play this game. To which he did not hesitate to reply that he did. Oak Pirate Roulette was a game where you had to take turns inserting knives inside until a pirate doll popped out. In other words, it was a game of pure luck. Great. Since you know the rules, then let's play. The girl enthusiastically suggested, looking at the guy who, unlike her, could not boast of such a thing. Then innocently smiled and added, and play for a flick. I'm going to die from this. Donga thought to himself with panic. How about we don't do that? With the hope that she would change her mind, he asked. However, fortune was not on his side today, as the demon queen declared, nope, I want to try. So death has knocked on my window. And whether I like it or not, the game has begun. Sitting in the barrel, the brave pirate's puppet never flinched after the first blow. Luckily, the first time was lucky. Donga thought to himself as he looked at the demon lord. She waited for her turn, with excitement in her eyes and sword in her hands, and looked at the barrel where the unlucky pirate who had never found his treasure was sitting. However, nothing happened the second time either. I'm lucky again, remarked the boy to himself. Then he turned his eyes to the girl, who folded her hands in front of her and looked very much engaged in the game. Does she really enjoy playing so much? He wondered. Don't laugh like that, I'm scared, Donga said to the girl in his mind, eyeing her warily. And then it was my turn again. Luckily, this time too, he didn't pop out. But it can't go on like this forever. I need to finish the game soon before she can win, Donga nervously said to himself. But he didn't have time to think of anything. For in the next moment it was as if time had slowed down. And he watched motionlessly as the demon queen once again swung her sword with excitement. However, this time was different. The guy had a feeling that this was the final blow, after which there would be only one option for the development of events, death. Donga's instincts really didn't let him down, and now finally the free pirate left the barrel flying into the air. Wow! He flew so high. No, right now it's more important than that. She's definitely going to get mad because she lost. We need to think of something soon, Panic thought to himself as the guy frightenedly turned around and looked at the girl. But to his surprise he found that she had her hands to her lips and was glowing with happiness. What's going on? He couldn't help but wonder. Could it be that she wasn't mad because it was a game of luck? Wait. That's right, it was a life and death game just for me. Come on. With a smile on her face said the demon queen, lifting her bangs with her hand. Hit it. She repeated with even more enthusiasm, framing her forehead. I thought what was at stake was whether or not she would beat me. Not that if I win, I'm going to beat her. Yeah, I didn't even consider such a turn of events. Frustrated reasoned Donka, looking at the demon queen, who now looked more like a masochist waiting to be flicked. So what should I do? And yet, do I really have to hit her? Donga wondered with a confused look at the demon lord. Won't it break my finger? Should I hit it lightly? He pondered with a trembling hand, folding his fingers in preparation to give a flick. Right. Wait a minute, the girl suddenly exclaimed. You're weak. So let's make this fair. She added. Fair? Re-questioned Donka, who didn't know what she was talking about. The next moment, the demon queen activated some kind of magic circle and started to cast some kind of spell. Wait a second, it turns out that while we were playing, she was maintaining a defense spell the whole time. Seriously? The demon queen, on the other hand, kept going on and on about casting spells without stopping. How many of them did she even cast? Is it even normal to be this strong? Donka couldn't believe what he was seeing. Yes, if someone manages to maintain 3 magic circles at the same time, they are immediately labeled an archmage. What's there to say about her then? Am I dreaming? Looking at the demon queen, who was standing on magic circles that glowed with a bright light, pondered the guy. And this is the monster we were going to defeat. Done. I've dispelled all the spells. Finishing reciting the magic spells Merlin alone understood, said the demon queen, turning to the lad. Now you can hit me. Is that really necessary? Asked Donga, at the same time thinking that everything should be done as gently as possible. However, the thoughts were interrupted by the demon queen, with a smile again, lifting her bangs with her hand and framing her forehead, and adding, throw away the tenderness. Hit as hard as you can. What am I supposed to do? Since things have taken this turn, I'll have to give it my best. I have to put all my strength into this punch. Folding his fingers and preparing to strike, Donka said to himself, but despite his confidence, he didn't look completely fearless. Naya came out of the demon queen's mouth the next second as he gave her a flick. Not used to receiving any damage without the use of magic spells that took over, even from such a blow, the girl staggered. Afterwards, falling to the floor, she looked at the guy confusedly. What? That was the only word Donka could utter at the moment after looking at the demon queen. Very. It hurts. The girl tearfully said pitifully, grabbing her bruised spot. Damn. Why did this happen? I never thought she would cry from this. It's definitely death, though wait, maybe there's still a chance. She likes fair play after all. We should try to calm her down. Are you okay? I'm sorry. In a sincere voice, Donka turned to the demon queen, who stopped crying but began to exude killing intent. Forgive you? For what? Asked the girl at the apology of the guy, who, hearing her words, couldn't understand why they were so different from what they really were. I'm not mad at you at all. She added with a murderous look, looking at Donga, who realized that his hour was near. I'm really sorry. Let's stop here. In an apologetic voice, Donka spoke up. And I'd like to point out that it was you who asked to hit as hard as possible. Stop. You think I'm going to stop there? With a smile on her face and red eyes burning red, the girl asked, clearly in no mood to just leave it at that. Yeah, you're right, I guess not. Resigned to his fate, replied Donga, raising his bangs. Why do things always end up like this? In a normal situation, I would have tried to even out the blows I was receiving, which would have calmed her down. But the problem is that if I get even a single blow, looking at the demon queen, who was standing near the barrel with her sword in her hand, Donga thought to himself. It would end in nothing but death. Where did the demon lord who was laughing happily just a moment ago go? However, it was necessary to continue, as there wasn't much of a way out for the guy. "Now you begin," the queen said, turning to the lad. Glancing at the sword blades in his hand, he thought, "I'm closer to death than ever. Wait. How did I not realize it right away? It was so obvious." Donga thought to himself with an epiphany. She had, after all, dispelled all her protective magic. This could be a once-in-a-million chance. If all the buffs are removed from her, I think I might be able to slay her with this sword. I already hit her a couple moments ago, and from the feeling in her current state, she's no stronger than a normal girl. Even though I was an ordinary porter, clenching the sword in his hand, the guy said to himself. But maybe it's still worth a try. I'm not sure I'll ever get that chance again. "What are you doing?" asked the demon queen, looking at the guy who was standing still thinking about something. "This might be my only chance to defeat the demon lord." Donka, immersed in his thoughts, didn't notice the question. "This is my only chance to defeat the demon lord. Take that!" shouted Donga, holding the sword in his hand with a confident face, approaching his target. The sound of a blow was heard. "You? Why?" the demon queen asked in surprise. "Taking so long?" she added, looking at the barrel that Donga had stuck his sword into. "No reason, I just couldn't choose where to stick it." Bleeding Sweat, the one, replied. "My opponent is a demon lord. What chance is there to talk about? It's bullshit to try to attack her. She easily dodged all of Julia's punches. Besides, I've swung my sword so many times and she didn't even bat an eye. She's the one who doesn't perceive me as a threat at all, even without defense spells." "Ouch!" the girl suddenly exclaimed, looking up. Turning around and looking where the girl was looking, Donga saw an unlucky pirate who had once again set out to conquer space. "Unlucky again," the demon queen said, a little frustrated. "Why so fast?" wondered the guy after looking at her. However, in the next moment, Donga's heart almost jumped out of his chest from fear, as the doll of the brave pirate who went to conquer space landed on the girl's head, having failed to successfully complete his mission. At the impact, the demon queen groaned painfully. Why of all places did it fall on her specifically? Not realizing what the probability of such an accurate hit was, the boy thought to himself in panic. An awkward pause ensued between the demon queen, who was exuding a gloomy atmosphere with the doll on her back, and Donga, who was afraid to say anything lest he aggravate the situation. "Let's better replay this round," Donka cautiously suggested after looking at the demon queen. "What, have you decided to give in again?" the demon queen asked disdainfully. "You think I can't defeat you without it?" "What? Of course not." Reacting in time, our hero replied. "Enough. Come on. Hit me already. And as hard as you can." the girl shouted, clenching her fists and closing her eyes. The next moment, a clicking sound was heard. "Well, I did just as she said." "That's not likely." Not believing his eyes, thought to himself, looking at the girl, who with tears in her eyes was not going to give up, despite having already lost 10 rounds in a row. "With this success, I think we'll be done soon," he thought hopefully. However, the demon queen's excitement was on a completely different level that Donga hadn't realized. "But this time, I'll start first." Whimpering with tears in her eyes, the girl said, holding the already shabby pirate in her hand. "Please stop," shouted Donka to himself, who didn't realize what he had done wrong. How long had this game been going on for? Here came the 11th round. "It's over." Hit harder. Tilting her head and framing her forehead red from the blows, the girl said, no longer as enthusiastically as before. "Damn, she's asking to hit harder again. What's wrong with her?" Annoyed, Donga thought to himself, not understanding how she could be so stubborn. "Stop. But if it continues like this, when I lose, I won't get off lightly, and it would be nice if I die right away without suffering." Thinking of the consequences, the boy said to himself. "Great. Since she likes games so much, it's worth taking advantage of it." Having no other choice, he decided to use his secret weapon. "This is boring as hell," Donka said in a dejected voice to the girl, who hearing his words in a cold voice and exuding murderous intent, asked, "What does he mean?" He replied with a dull and bored face, "You can die of boredom that way. I'm just beating you up once in a while." "What?" a cold voice asked the queen, whose pupils were narrowed with anger. However, Donga decided to go all the way, proposing to the girl with his index finger raised in front of him, "Let's make the next round decisive. The loser will receive 10 punches at once." The demon queen, unwilling to stop until she won, exuding a murderous aura with anger in her voice, coldly asked the guy, "Let's keep playing, why finish now?" Slightly confused by such an intimidating question, Donga told himself to pull himself together. Then, pouring cold sweat, he said the most difficult 3 words in his life, for which he could die on the spot in the same second. "Are you afraid?" "Come on," replied the demon queen, looking at the guy with a look capable of killing. So far, Donga had nothing to lose, as he didn't care how many blows he would get, since he would die from the first one anyway. "Well, let's start our final game," he said, putting his life on the line. Dead silence reigned in once again. Staring at the same spot, the demon queen and Donga didn't know what to say. And they were looking at the brave pirate lying on the floor, for whom this mission was the last. "I won." Not believing his eyes, Donka shouted in surprise. "Since the last round was very long, I was beginning to think my luck had turned away from me." "Selfish little scoundrel, couldn't you jump out earlier?" Grabbing the poor pirate, said to him in a joyful voice Donka, still unable to believe that he had won and could still live a little while yet. "However, to be honest, I was a bit scared towards the end." Looking at his wet pants, the guy admitted. With an offended snicker, the demon queen turned around and headed for the exit as if nothing had happened. "What? Where is she going?" Donga wondered, not understanding why she was leaving. "Demon Lord, wait," Dongha shouted after her, causing the girl to jerk back as if she had been caught in the act. "What?" Turning her head and stammering in a frightened voice, the demon queen asked. "Kind of like, didn't you forget anything?" Donka asked. Usually players take punishments pretty seriously. "No, it's probably just me obsessing over it. After all, I'm Pak Dongha's pathetic porter. Now I can beat up one of the strongest creatures in the world without hesitation." After receiving another slap, the demon queen cried out painfully. "Ouch. Is it really that hard to endure so many blows?" Contemptuously asked Pak Donga, looking at the girl, who, unwilling to admit defeat, emotionally replied that it wasn't. "Yes, really. Well then, let's move on to the 9th flick," replied the guy to the confused, frightened girl, who was no longer sure of her words. "No matter how you look at it, and I am in a rather dangerous situation, but I have nothing to lose, so I need to use this chance to the fullest, so that she will also feel the bitterness of loss and the joy of victory. After all, if I leave things as they are, I might as well die one day because of some game." Donka came to a conclusion. "It's all your fault. So don't blame me." Mentally he addressed the demon queen, who, seeing his confident face, looked at him fearfully. The very next moment, just as Donga was about to give the girl another flick, the girl, covering her forehead red from the blows with tears in her eyes, screamed, Wait. I'll do anything but just this once." "Anything?" the boy incredulously interjected. "Aha. Anything, anything you want," the demon queen said in a panic. Not believing that things could work out so well, seeing this as his chance, Donga, turning to the girl, said, "Then let me out of here." "That's impossible." As if not even considering this option, replied the girl. Then raising her index finger upwards, she added, "If you leave, you'll die. I can give you any item in the castle instead." "Then I don't need anything," replied Donga, raising his hand about to give another flick to the girl, who, feeling threatened, panicked and started offering anything she thought the guy might be interested in. "Then how about the crocodile skin? I'm fine without it." "What about Fenrir's fangs?" Without giving up hope, the girl asked again. I think I'll pass. Without compromising, the boy replied. How about a massage? Not knowing what to suggest anymore, asked the demon queen. You. Me. I'm gonna die. No, I'll pass. Dong-ha replied, not wanting to take any chances. Here, then, the girl said irritatedly while counting on her fingers. Because of that bidding situation, she's getting angry. Noted the guy noticed the girl's nervous state. Then it's fine. Donga wanted to say something, not wanting to risk his life and go that far, but he was interrupted by his stomach rumbling. Seeing this as a chance to not get snapped, the girl clenched her fists happily. The Tower of Trials, on one of the floors. In one of the rooms that was signed as the kitchen, from which a bright warm light poured out, came voices. What do you think? Looks like it, doesn't it? The voice of the demon queen was heard. I don't know what kind of weirdness is going on here, but is this a regular kitchen? Donga wondered in amazement as he looked at the room with the kitchen utensils, which was different from the usual one only because there was a sword in it. So you did it yourself? Asked the girl Donka, noticing a book on the table with instructions on how to equip the kitchen. To which the demon queen enthusiastically replied that yes, she did. Awesome. It's even better than in the book, right? Sincerely surprised, the guy praised the setting. These words really excited the girl, who folded her hands in front of her and glowing with happiness looked at Donga with a surprised look. In addition, the demonic horn, which was red light before, suddenly began to glow golden. Suddenly, the girl turned her back to Donga intending to go somewhere. The boy was puzzled, as he didn't understand why she just started walking away. But I think she's glad. Did I do something right? Donga wondered as he watched the demon queen walk away. However, as for the demon lord's dishes, he sat down at the table and propped his chin up with his hand, watching the demon queen, who was trying to cook something while holding a huge sword that was being used for some obscure purpose. What the hell is she doing? Wondered Donga, afraid to even imagine what would come of this. However, will I even be able to eat this? Done. Try it. The demon queen enthusiastically said after a while. Donga, on the other hand, stared puzzled at what was being offered to him. No way. The guy muttered, not taking his eyes off the dishes the demon queen had prepared. On the table were the best dishes that Donga could ever see. There was elven bread, stew, basilisk steak, besides at least in appearance they looked very good. How does she know about tteokbokki? He wondered upon seeing the last dish. Demon Lord dishes. So ordinary. Donka exclaimed to himself as he looked at the satisfied girl who was happy that her cooking was appreciated by someone. Taking a single bite with his chopstick and tasting it. His eyes widened in shock, the sensations experienced at that moment made him stiffen. How is it? Tasty? The demon queen asked excitedly, looking at Donga in anticipation. Ah! It tastes just like my childhood. Shining with delight, the boy came to a conclusion, feeling the nostalgia of his childhood. So it's good? The demon queen questioned, looking at Donga in surprise, who immediately replied that it was really good. Suddenly, she began to chuckle slyly, covering her mouth with her hands. I realize that you're happy that I liked your cooking, but then why are you laughing so terribly? Frightenedly wondered Donga, having a premonition that this could all end badly. Is it tasty? Yes, it's delicious. Really? Yeah, it's really good. Yeah, it's the best thing I've had since my grandmother's cooking. This was the kind of dialogue that didn't end for the entire time the guy was eating. Didn't leave a crumb. With a satisfied smile on her face, the demon lord said. Was it that good? Yes, honestly, really, really delicious. Replied Donga, thinking to himself, stop asking me already. But as they say, you have to pay for food, and in Donga's case, that was the case. Now that you've eaten, what should we do next? That thought already makes me happy, doesn't it? With a smile on her face, the girl asked. Yes, of course, this is what I have dreamed of all my life, replied Donga with a face that said the exact opposite. Wow. To be honest, I doubted you, but you did a great job. The demon lord said in an enthusiastic voice while pointing at the table. Even though it felt like punishment, you still ate all the carrots. And didn't even leave a piece, she added. Unbelievable. Amazing. In a delighted voice and with a surprised expression on her face, the girl continued. Don't praise me for just eating all the carrots. Donka pondered to himself. She takes me for a junior school student. What did I do to deserve this attitude? Wait here while I wash the dishes. There's something urgent to do, said the demon queen approaching the sink, which despite the fact that they were in a tower looked very modern. Something else? Please stop. You're too obsessed with games. Unable to bear it any longer, Donka thought to himself, to whom these words sounded like another test on the line that could be his life. After a while in the demon queen's kitchen. So what were you talking about? If it's urgent, is it something important? No longer able to remain in the dark about what was ahead of him, asked Donga to the girl. No, it's nothing like that. Just some uninvited guests visiting. She replied in a casual voice. Uninvited guests, you say? I see, laughing nervously, the guy replied. Just a second. Is someone here? Finally realizing the girl's words, Donka repeated to himself. Finally, it must be a new group coming to defeat the demon lord. He thought happily to himself as he looked at the unsuspecting demon queen who continued to wash the dishes. These saviors, that is, uninvited guests. When will they come? Turning to the girl asked Donga. Well, since the alarm went off, they'll probably come to the entrance soon. Uninterestedly, the demon lord replied while continuing to wipe her plate. I see. Any idea who it could be? Trying not to give away his emotions, casually asked the guy. Sure. If you want, I can even show you. Finished with washing the dishes and turning to the guy, replied the girl. Yes, show me, please. Excitedly he replied. Okay, just a second, said the demon queen taking the remote, at which Donga stared at in bewilderment. The next moment, a projector appeared behind him out of nowhere. This isn't the first time I've noticed this, but this place is full of modern things, he remarked in surprise. So, let's see how strong this group is, Donka said hopefully to himself as he turned his gaze to the screen. In the next moment, he saw a group of adventurers, which, like any other, consisted of a huge tank, a confident knight, a mage girl, and an innocent healer, who most likely came after the demon lord. Seeing no one known among the guys, Donga was at a loss. But suddenly, a flag caught his eye. That's one of the strongest guilds, the Black Dragon Guild. Joyfully exclaimed to himself, he regained hope. Even though it was founded in the middle of nowhere, it still started to build up its strength very rapidly. And now they are so powerful that no one dares to cross their path. Donga happily pondered to himself. Then with a gloating smile he added to himself, the dinner we just ate, let's just say it was the last meal she cooked. Why are you smiling so dramatically? With a disgruntled face, suspecting something, asked the demon queen upon seeing the boy's gloating grin. Nothing. Realizing his mistake, quickly replied Donga, trying not to arouse suspicion. However, his words didn't really convince the girl, who had an even more disgruntled expression on her face. I'll be back soon, wait here for now. In a cold voice, the girl said, heading towards the exit. Listen. Can I come with you? Jumping up from his chair asked Donga in pursuit of the departing girl. Why? Surprised she asked, turning around. It's simple. When the demon lord is defeated, I just have to witness this decisive battle, and enjoy the feeling of victory for all the abuse I've endured. Donga thought to himself. I want to support you. Confidently replied Donga after a quick thought. Support? Blushing excitedly, the girl interjected, unable to believe what he said. Her horn, which was usually red, glowed with a golden color again. All right. Let's go together. Stammering excitedly said the demon queen abruptly turned around and headed for the exit in a hurry, not wanting to show the guy her red face. If we're going together, then wait for me. The guy thought to himself as he saw the girl quickly moving away. At last she has appeared. I've waited so long for this day, demon. In a pathos voice, the knight standing in front said. Turning to the queen, the demons who was looking at the group with an indifferent expression on her face. Donka, who had come to support the girl with a stone face, stood beside her. But, who's that with you? The report didn't mention anything about him. The knight asked, puzzled, noticing the boy. Oh, I was just, Donga wanted to say, but he was interrupted by the voice of the mage girl. Who said in a cold voice after looking at him, it's no use. Look into his eyes. Most likely, that Devilis has already brainwashed him. What is she talking about? Not believing his ears wondered Donga, who had not at all expected this turn of events. I'll look at you when you're living on the edge of life and death every day. We didn't have time to help him. I'm sorry, but if there's even a small chance. With a sad face and tears in his eyes, the knight said dramatically, putting his hand to his heart. Way to go. Don't give up and don't lose hope so quickly. In his thoughts supported the knight's Donka. Alas, he can no longer be helped. The girl didn't stop standing her ground, as if she purposely wanted to get rid of the poor fellow. Damn you to hell. If you don't know anything, so why are you opening your mouth? Angrily cursed to himself at the girl Donka, who could sign his sentence with her words. Deciding that it couldn't be left like this, he decided to clear the air. No, it isn't, he began. But he was suddenly interrupted by the voice of the demon queen, who proudly declared, exactly. He's come to support me. Joyfully and confidently she added, pointing at the guy who was in shock at the hopelessness of his situation staring at her. Damn. What have I done again?